I suppose, Tony, talk a bit about what's available in terms of some of the supports from rural financial counsellors and AGBIZ Assist.
Yep.
So, yeah, do it as however you want.
Okay, thanks, Brad. AGBIZ Assist, so we're a free service, government funded, very much independent of government though. We've got 8 councils work across North East Victoria. We've got councils quite local to the area, but I happen to be the one that had spare time to come today. So I just want to have a chat about some of the key programs that are out there, not just for fire related recovery, but they're just ongoing programs that might help in your circumstances. There's a whole lot of other smaller things, and I think VFF's announced something just this week, another $1,000 or maybe up to 2. So, and I'm not across that one, but if you just think, if you're not sure, you've tapped into everything. Hopefully you all got some sort of case for things being working. If you think you're missing anything, please reach out to us. There's a number of programs, and probably one of the key points is to not self-assess in terms of the guidelines and what's involved. It's easy to misinterpret what's in that space. So reach out to somebody, whether it's ourselves, whether it's Rural Finance who's administering a lot of the grants, and just check with them, how do I fit in this, because there's some grey areas and we can get people through. It's not absolutely black and white in every case. In terms of fire related recovery, there's a $75,000 fire recovery grant which is funded through Vic government. Key criteria in terms of eligibility: you've only got to turn over 75 grand. If you're turning over more than 75k, or you've got 50% of your gross income comes from primary production. That's kind of the 2 key criteria, and that gives us a bit of scope. Actually, we've had clients go through that don't meet the 75, but we can meet it on the 50% gross income. So it's either or, and that applies to the grant for the 75k. It also applies to the 5k drought grant, and they've got a concessional loan as well. It's the same criteria applies across the those ones, they're all being administered through Rural Finance. We can help with applications if you need that. And both those grants have got very similar information that's required, so it's really no extra work to do both of them as opposed to one if you think you're eligible for one. Everyone in Victoria is eligible for the 5. So we've got lots of clients accessing that, and then we can tack on to the 75, and it's another half an hour's work. Rural Finance have also got through Vic government funding 250k concessional loans. It's up to 250, but it's 2 criteria, so you can have access to full 250 for capital needs. So if it's capital items that you're struggling with the most, you can access the full 250, but then there's $100,000 for recovery of loss of net income, or a combination of the 2. 5 years initial loan term, 2.12% interest rate. There's a little bit more to those than the grants in terms of application process. There's an initial expressions of interest process, and there's a little bit in that. But the main extra piece of work really is some cash flow budgets, so I want to see some forecasts. And we can help in that space too if you need that. Alongside, or similar to the Rural Finance, the Regional Investment Corporation, been around for 6 or 7 years now, federal funding, but again concessional loans. They're a bit dearer at 5, just over 5% interest rate. They've got a 10-year loan term. It's 5 years interest only, so it needs to help take a bit of pressure off that cash flow or debt repayment. The RIC loan's been really useful as hundreds of farmers have accessed them around the country for 6 years. And then they're also designed to sort of run alongside your commercial facilities. So if you've already got existing facilities, it's not about losing your connection with your commercial bank. It's an extra too. And the banks have all been very supportive. Initially they were a little bit resistant, I think, in the very early days, but they're pretty much on board they recognise it's good for their customers, it's good for them too. Bit of a process in terms of application, but that's where we can step in. Our free service, we can help with eligible for our service, we can certainly support you through that process. There is an income support program as well. Like the grants, there's no repayment. It's, if you're eligible for it, it's fortnightly income can come in and help keep the household ticking if cash flow is stalled because you've got all these extra expenses and livestock are off and they're costing money. So not everyone will be eligible, and I won't sort of go into the details on the eligibility, but it's worth having a conversation if that's an issue that might be useful. In terms of other services, we're here all the time. We're not just a fire recovery exercise. So RFCS has been around for 40 odd years. We work in farm debt mediation. We can help with it. If you've got creditors that you've now got issues in terms of being able to keep payments on time, we can help you negotiate with them. We can get payment terms in place. We work with farmers through the formal farm debt mediation process. That doesn't happen often. Usually good conversations with your lenders will prevent that. There's a formal process that we can participate in too. The other thing, probably cash flow budgeting. We do a lot of work in cash flow budgets. And I know not everyone loves cash flow budgets. They're often a really hard sell. When I mention cash flow budgets, people just, oh no, that's not, we don't need that. That's particularly in times like this where if something's come along and it's knocked us off course, and it's going to do that for a while, having a really clear sense about where we are today, what's our financial position today, and what does the next 12 months look like? At a bare minimum, what does the next 12 months look like? Sure, it's not going to be perfect, but if we get a sense of what that is, the combination of the two can give us a clear picture of all our options here. Maybe we don't have to slog it out do it tough. Maybe we've got enough resources that we can tap in and actually get recovery back underway more quickly. And it can sort of take a bit of the anxiety out of the future if we can get a better picture about where we are and what we're travelling into. So I really encourage people, if you don't normally do cash flows, but you know incoming cash flow is going to be tight, it's a good process to go through. Similar to that, we can help with business assessments. If you want to have a look back at your business, sometimes an opportunity like this, it's a reset. What's the last 3 to 5 years look like? How is our business actually performing? We can put some numbers on that. Are there options that we haven't explored? What can we do? What changes can we make to get more out of our business? And probably the only other last point I want to make is I know I was a farmer for a long time, and haven't been through fires, but been through floods, and the workload when you're doing long days, it's probably hard to sleep as well as you used to. You don't have as much time for sleep as you used to, perhaps too. And it's pretty hard to make good decisions when you're under the pump, when you're under pressure. So, if you're feeling overwhelmed or you just don't have enough headspace because there's so much to deal with at one point in time, just sense checks any major decisions. Sense check them with somebody you trust. Somebody like our service, could be your accountant, your bank manager, somebody in your circle who's good to bounce ideas off. Just do that, because we don't want to regret decisions. Look back in 6 months' time and think, I made that call because I felt I had to. Maybe there was another option. And along those lines, we also have 2 very good mental health counsellors who work in our service. Again, a free service like us, we can meet you wherever you need to be. You can be on farm, you can be online, you can be in a community centre somewhere nearby if that's what works. But we've got 2 guys on staff, and they're very good. They're very busy at the moment, but they're very good, and we'll find space if you need someone to talk to. Yeah, look, if anyone's got any questions, it's a bit, I know I talk to a lot of people lately, and they're sort of saying there's so much to hold on to. We're not quite sure. We talk to lots of people, and it's all getting a bit lost. So if you have any questions, please feel free now, or happy to catch up at a later date. And you've got an info here in the car if you need something on any of those programs you haven't tapped in on yet.
think that's Sarah. Is that? So yeah, I mean, thank you. We're all hanging around until we get kicked out. So I think Nick has to head off soon. But so yeah, we're hanging around. We want to chat. But thanks for having everyone on, and Don and family, thank you, and community as well.
Yeah, pleasure.
Yeah.